Creating a guided history tour.
Hi, let's break down the different steps of creating a guided tour about the histories of the victims persecuted by the Nazis and their collaborators. How can a guided tour help you to present your research findings? The purpose of a guided history tour can be to inform the audience about the historical context, people and events that took place at the site. A guided tour can also be a tool to invite visitors to critically reflect on the history, the processes leading to the events, their causes and consequences, and their relevance for us today. Making your own guided history tour around your town means that you can present people the local history and personal stories of victims. Who they were, what kind of life they lived, what happened to them, and how the different sites in your tour are relevant to this story. But where do you start? Step 1. Identifying the main message. To begin creating a guided history tour, you may start by reflecting on your research findings. Consider how to link the broader historical context with the personal story you want to tell. Then, select significant places in your town that are important to this story. It is important to realize that when you create a guided tour, you also get to decide what parts of someone's story to highlight. It is essential to be respectful towards the individuals whose personal stories you are sharing. During your tour, focus on presenting their everyday lives and achievements rather than solely emphasizing humiliation, suffering, and death. It is difficult to include all the information in the limited time you have during a guided tour. Therefore, it is important to focus on the main message you would like your audience to get out of the tour. Additionally, you have the responsibility of presenting historical information accurately, while also being clear that the guided tour represents just a fragment of a broader history related to a person, group, or place. Step 2. Mapping the sites and creating a route. Now, you can identify the sites you want to include and create a tour route. A site can be a house where someone lived, a school that someone went to, or a synagogue, a street, or any place relevant to your story. While creating the route, also consider its accessibility. There might be people with reduced mobility in your audience. Sometimes you might have to ask permission to access the site. This could, for example, be a school or even someone who nowadays resides in a building. If you are unsure, it is good to consult your teacher. Another aspect to think about is the duration of your tour. Some tours are as short as 30 minutes, while others take more than 1 hour. To keep it feasible for yourself and your audience, you may opt for a tour that is no longer than walking distance. This means you must carefully consider how many stops you want to include. Step 3. Final preparations. Now, you can create short scripts for yourself that will help you with giving the presentation at each stop. Cards with keywords can be a good idea. The tour should be interactive and exciting. You can, for example, prepare some questions for them to answer. Print and prepare historical photographs and archival documents, and show them on relevant sites. It is also good to remember that the audience might also have questions for you. There is no shame in not knowing the answer. It is important to be transparent about this. You can tell the audience that you will look into their question and get back to them later with more information and resources afterwards. How do you engage with your audience? You should investigate who your audience will be and prepare. Sometimes you might find yourself in a situation where you do not know much about the audience. It is always good to start by introducing yourself, giving a brief historical background about the history of the topic that you are dealing with, and shortly sharing what you will talk about during the tour. It could be the case that you will give a tour to an audience who has no prior knowledge about the history of the Second World War and the Holocaust. It could also be the opposite case. Therefore, before starting the tour, getting to know your audience a little is important. You could, for example, ask them how much they already know about the topic, or if there are any specific questions that they are interested in. Creating a guided tour on this topic isn't easy, but see it as a chance to reflect on what you've accomplished so far. You've come a long way, and now you have the opportunity to share your hard work and knowledge with a wider audience.